3/16 steel and fir wood all coming together to make up this business sign. Hello, hello, my name is Nate with Creative Combinations Montana. My wife Kelsey and I, we design and make metal wall art, metal and wood furniture, business signs, different things like that out of our garage in Columbia Falls, Montana. We both grew up in northwest Montana and we enjoy adventuring. We take our adventure photos and inspiration that we get out in the woods and we incorporate that into our designs. Feel free to head over to our website, www.creativecombinationsmt.com, to check out more of our designs, our merch, as well as our online shop. So, jumping back to this sign project.
Is Mom leaving? Is she leaving, bud? Oh, bud, she'll be back.
That's our Towgee boy there. Kelsey was getting ready to head into town, so he always gets a little upset, but that's okay, he'll survive. So anyways, back to it. So now I am just kind of cutting down this wood to the exact dimensions that I need to create this sign project. And so this sign, this is going to Pursuit. They are a company that does work in national parks here in the United States as well as Canada. And they run a coffee shop in West Glacier National Park that they needed a sign for. So we went back and forth with them for a while over emails until we got a design that everybody was happy with. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to mill up this fir board to the needed dimensions, and then I am going to cut out the different letters on the CNC plasma that's going to make up the actual text of the sign. So here I am loading up the steel onto the CNC plasma cutter and uploading all those CADs. Kelsey did all the work and got all those, not CADs, cut files. Kelsey did all the work and got those cut files ready for me, so all I had to do is upload those onto the CNC machine, get my material all lined up, and then I am ready to start cutting. So there's a couple ways you can do these signs. You know, a lot of people would take all these letters and nest them. What I mean by that is moving them around on the sheet so you're using the least amount of material as possible. But I've kind of found it's easier to actually just draw a box around your design and cut that out. That will help for kind of the layout of the actual sign, which we'll get into a little bit later.
Hi guys. You guys good dogs? I love you.
So there's Opey and Towgee, our shop dogs. They're always hanging out, protecting me from the neighbor dogs. So right now I am going through and I am grinding off all the cut residue. Plasma cutting leaves a little bit of residue, so you need to get all that cleaned off. Here is the template that I'm going to use for doing all the lining up. So this piece is not actually part of the sign itself, but it is going to help save a lot of labor on my end getting all these pieces lined up.
Hi. Hi, Towgee. Good boy.
So grind, getting all that cut residue off. I usually just go at it with a wire wheel, and then a lot of times I'll come back with a flap disc, just making sure that everything is nice and smooth. And so here I am putting all the letters back into the template because they are all a little bit different, and I want to make sure that I get them all lined up just right. So I am going to be welding little pieces of rod onto the back of these letters, and that is how I am going to attach them into the wood. So right now I am going on the backs of the letters and just grinding a little bit of that mill scale off to help with the weld. So I've got some 1/4-inch rod here that I'm going to get cleaned up because I will be gluing that in. I just wanted to make sure and get all the oil and grease off that first. And then I'm going to go ahead and mark the lengths that I need and just cut those off with the cut wheel. Well, thanks so much for watching the video and bearing with me as I create this sign here. If you like what you see, I'd appreciate a subscribe or maybe a like. Definitely let me know what you think about the video in the comments. I'm still pretty new at this YouTube game, but I do want to be making more videos like this in the future. So I'd love to hear your feedback as I think about how to make these videos and what type of content I'm going to be putting out on YouTube. So back to the sign here, I am TIG welding the rod onto the backs of the letters. I'm doing 2 per letter, that way it's not going to risk twisting or anything like that. So I've got the template laid out and I am just tack welding these rods onto the back of the letters. I'm not actually measuring where they're going. I am just kind of eyeballing and getting them nice and centered. And then I'm going to go back and actually use this blue tape to tape onto the template. And this is kind of why I didn't nest those letters and I actually cut out this template. It ends up being a little bit more in materials, but the cost definitely outweighs the amount of time that it saves. So in my opinion, it is definitely worth cutting a little bit more material to give yourself this template. It's also helpful for this step right here because now I'm actually going to lay the template onto the wood. And this is how I'm going to transfer and mark where all of those holes are going to go to know where to drill into the wood. So after I get the templates lined up where they're going to go onto the wood, I can go through and I can center punch and mark where I need to drill all of my holes. And definitely want to mark the drill bit, that way I don't drill in too deep. Last thing you want to do is drill all the way through and have a hole on the other side. So after I got all my holes initially marked, then I can go through and drill and test fit all of these letters to get them to fit properly. So with doing the weld on the back, I did need to go back and just kind of countersink all of those holes. That way the letters would sit flat. Otherwise the weld was actually holding them off the wood just ever so slightly.
Oh, hi. How are you? How are you? You need somebody to throw that for you?
Our sweet Opey girl, she always likes to come into the shop and let me know when it's break time, tell me I've been working for too long. She likes to play fetch, so she's always bringing me her ball, trying to get me to go out and play fetch.
Last letter, Opie. It's the last letter. See how it's the last letter. It's the last letter. What? 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 Oh, not quick enough for you though, huh? Yeah, you're ready. Sun's out. You're ready to fly through the air after your ball, huh? Oh my goodness. You're ridiculous.
All right, now that we got the last letter in and we've got everything fit, it is time to move on to the final sanding. So I'm gonna sand all the top of the steel letters, and that is going to help with the patina finish that I'm gonna put on those. After I get all that steel sanded and prepped, then it would be jumping back to the wood and doing the final sand on the wood. I didn't do the final sand earlier because setting that steel on there, you can get little scuffs, and I didn't want to put in a whole bunch of time in sanding just to have to re-sand. So now that I've got all of the letters fit and I know where they're all going to go, I can go back and do the final sand on the wood. So for the finish, we did a couple samples, and what they landed on is doing the Minwax 211. So this is that stain. I'm going to go ahead and apply that onto the bottom first. Once that bottom dries, then I will flip it and do the top side. So while that stain is drying, I'm going to jump back and do a little bit on the lettering. So we're doing a Black Magic patina finish on the steel parts. So that is a chemical compound that you brush on there, and it actually rusts the steel. Depending on the compound you're using, that is where you get the different colorations. So it's a wipe it on, and then you wash it off with water to neutralize it. And then I will go back and do a penetrol clear coat once I have all of them patinaed. So that's kind of a side-by-side what it looks like with just the patina compared to the raw steel. So once I get the patina on there, you just got to make sure that you get all of that washed off before you apply the clear coat. So I'm going to go through with a rag, just dry them off, make sure I get any of that patina residue off before I clear coat them. So I'm going to jump back over to the wood. That first layer of stain on the back side is dry, so I'm going to go ahead and flip that and stain the front side. While that's drying, I'll jump back to the steel lettering and apply a penetrol clear coat to those to prevent them from rusting in the future. So now that I got the steel letters finished, I'm going to jump back to the wood, and we're going to do a couple coats of polyurethane to help protect that wood. Now after all the poly was dried and the clear coat was dry on the steel parts, it is assembly time. Pretty straightforward assembly on this one. Most of the work was already done because everything was already pre-drilled. All I had to do is squirt some glue in there, stick the letters in, and let it dry. And that's it for this video. I'm not actually doing the install on this project. Pursuit, their engineering team, is going to handle that. So I'll leave you with some finished photos here. Again, my name is Nate with Creative Combinations Montana. Thanks so much for watching. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Go ahead and subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Until next time.